I should. What if I swap? Okay. Second look better. That's kind of awkward now. Hello? Okay. Hi, my name is Braden Vanderhart. Welcome to my $300,000 scholarship portfolio tour/tips video. So to explain the clickbait title, I ended up getting $300,000 in scholarship offers from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design, Kansas City Art Institute. Each one offered me around $100,000 to go to their schools. I ended up choosing Milwaukee Institute of Art and Design. Very excited to go there in the fall. So, any of you are going there? Anywho, so to begin my portfolio, I started with this piece, which I am very proud of. I've only done like 2 or 3 self-portraits, and this one really resonated with me because it is me. And yeah, I cut my hair last summer, completely shaved it off. I looked like an egg, and I said, now is the time for a self-portrait. So I did one, and this is actually Sharpie, and it rubs off really bad. Like, my fingers are already blue. So a lot of my other canvases that have been near it are also blue now. Yay! So the next piece is another oil painting. I don't know if I explained that that was an oil painting, but this one is of my sister, and one I liked to So with my portfolio, I organized it in a way that I started with my paintings for the most part, like my oil paintings and my colored things, and then I moved into my sketchbooks. Then I moved into my 3D media, like my pots and some other things, and then we'll get into it. But when you do your portfolio, you want to arrange it in a way that makes sense so it can be viewed smoothly. So my second piece following that one was an older oil painting of my sister. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to include as many portraits as possible because that's what I'm good at for the most part. So yeah, I was very proud of that one. Also, it's very old for the most part. It's like sophomore year, so like 2017. I don't advise that you do older pieces because it's not a great representation of you going into college. Just keep that in mind. I'm gonna end up repeating that a lot. Next up, we have a sketchbook painting of my mother. Yeah, when you do your portfolio, you want to show a good amount of sketchbook spreads. It shows that you can do more unfinished work and that not everything you do has to be perfect. They aren't necessarily looking just for finished, gorgeous pieces. They're looking for your raw self and that you are capable of just cramming out as many pieces as you possibly can and that you do have a good work ethic. Next up, we have a colored pencil drawing. I don't know how well you can see it, but I actually hate colored pencil a lot for the most part. This took a lot longer than I want to admit just because I hated to do it. Yeah, we were doing a project in class, and so I wanted to do it as easily as possible and as least colored pencil as possible. Look up Sha'an D'anthes because this is kind of ripped straight from her. She's an amazing artist. I'll try to link her below. Yeah, I enjoyed how it turned out, so I decided to use it. I wish I hadn't done these little fish if you can see them, but other than that, it's good. I did a few more sketchbook spreads, and so I'll try to show them, but this one was more just showing that I could do like smaller detail work / that I just could come up with a lot of ideas and that I like to doodle pretty much. Not much more to say about it other than it also showed that I was like, I like to include a lot of sayings or just phrases that I come up with in my sketchbooks. It just shows that I have a more conceptual way of thinking and way of doing my work. So this one just kind of shows that I'm better at anatomy and that I can do the human form somewhat. This one, oh, go back. No. Okay. So there's not a ton to say about this one. It just kind of is what it is. I don't think I submitted that one to every school, but who knows. The next up I'm more proud of. It just shows that I can start an idea and flesh it out. This was just me doodling my character in class that I came up with, and I just kind of kept fleshing her out, and she ended up kind of a neat character. And they like to see that you can continue an idea farther than just doodling it one time. I don't know how well you can see these, but I really don't want to go grab them. They are my pottery. I got pretty good relatively at a pottery wheel because my school has several of them, and they have not great clay but really good glazes. So yeah, I included these simply because it shows that I am good at more than just painting and drawing. I can do 3D mediums and I can work in a 3D space. This piece is ginormous. I will try to show it somehow in the video, but it took forever to dry. It is made up of joint compound rather than paint, so it's very heavy. I took it to a national portfolio day, almost broke it several times. It's currently hanging above my bed. I could be crushed in the middle of the night and I'd be fine. Yeah, love it. They also really liked that one when I took it to go get judged. They like the ideas. They like many ideas. Show as many ideas as you possibly can. The next thing, speaking of ideas, these are ants that were on my floor. That's about all I can say about that. I just wanted to show that I could take a simple idea and turn it into a form of beauty. It was kind of dumb, but I have them and they're large and there's 3 of them and I don't know what to do with them, but I like them. And they did too. Then I have this one. So this, when you do your portfolio, I said that not every piece has to be perfect, and that is 100% true. But that also means you should have a lot of filler, and this was definitely filler. I did this because of my portfolio, which isn't necessarily always something you want to do, is work just because you need it for a portfolio, because they don't really like that. It seems stale. But this kind of took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. I just wanted to convey a really cliche message that we're all together, we're all tied together. I think it turned out pretty decent, but yeah, just kind of filler, but not bad by any means. So this next piece is actually one of my favorites, and this was kind of going against what I was saying about you shouldn't include older paintings or older pieces, because it's definitely older, but I was always really proud of it. It's just a rabbit with a crown and some weird fruit things behind it, and it's stippled, but it turned out really nice, and it's also hanging above my bed and also very heavy, so also could crush me in my sleep. But yeah, when you do your portfolio, I don't know if I mentioned this at the beginning, but you want to start it and end it really strong. You want it to sort of be like a performance where you really grab their attention at the beginning and then you really make an impact at the end and you make them remember you. And I felt like I did that pretty good between my huge 4-foot joint compound painting and this one. I feel like the ending of my portfolio was pretty decent, as well as the beginning where I had my favorite piece. As I said, or maybe I didn't, your portfolio is your one chance to show these judges and these schools that you are creative, you have a technical skill, and that you have some sort of flair. So you want to curate this portfolio as best you can. One way to help you do so is to attend National Portfolio Days. I don't know how available they will be to you, but the one I went to was about an hour and a half away. I did a really dumb thing by actually taking all of my pieces as they are, including the 4-foot tall, 30-pound monstrosity. I almost broke it several times. It's very fragile, but yeah, it's just a really good place to get tons of connections as well as really good feedback. I don't think I really changed anything drastically after going to the National Portfolio Day, but it was just good to hear what each school wanted to see in their portfolios and to adjust yourself accordingly. I don't know how I got into the 2 schools other than Chicago because they both had requirements that I didn't follow. I'm pretty sure one required observational drawings, and I didn't have a single one of those in my portfolio. If I were to go back and do it again, that would be the one thing I would throw in there just to show that I can observe things, whether that be still life or a landscape. I just didn't feel like they would say much about me, so I chose not to do them, but I would definitely think about it harder than I did. There was one girl, and this is kind of an example of what not to do. When I was at the portfolio day, she had her portfolio, and it was like a little hand thing. I was such a nuisance there. I had my entire live portfolio against a wall. I took up so much space. I felt horrible, but I got looked at really well. But this girl had a little portfolio, and it was just full of Bob Ross landscape paintings. This girl brought tons of them, and I don't think she had anything else, and it's like, that's not you. That doesn't tell them a single thing about you. That's just saying you can watch Bob Ross on Netflix and paint along with it. No shade, no tea, whatever, don't do that. It's okay to have different portfolios for different schools. That was one thing I learned when going to National Portfolio Day, was that they do look for different things. So curate yourself as best you can. I can't say that enough. Just really make sure you're representing yourself the best you can according to how that school looks and what they look for. One really, really, really important thing about doing your portfolio is to have the best possible pictures you can have. I was really fortunate that we have a pretty good camera club at school. And so I took this huge canvas tarp into class, and they allowed me to rent out a camera. I hung this huge tarp, and then I just studio photographied the whole thing. It took forever, but I was really proud of how the pictures turned out, and it helped me a lot. So if you're not that fortunate, just make sure that you have really good lighting. Don't do it in the middle of the night with a single desk lamp. That'll look horrible. They won't even look at your pieces. They will just go right on through. So make sure you're being really intentional. The photograph is part of the art. It is part of how you represent yourself. Make sure when you're including your pieces that they show one of 3 things. They show either technical skill. I know not everybody has amazing technical skill. I know that comes along with experience, and I know some people are starting later than others in their artistic journey. But you don't want to just like slap stuff together, I guess. You want to take your time with things and choose what you think shows off your technical skill the best. Also, pieces should show, or some should show, if not, you should have 1 or 2 of these things. A concept, or prove that you can conceptualize and that you can come up with ideas that are like, not ideas necessarily, but like emotions or feelings, or yeah, I guess an idea would matter. Just proving that your pieces have a point and aren't just good, but also the message is good. That's kind of hard to explain, but if we talk about, say, this piece, this I feel like had both, and blue again, this piece has both technical skill as well as concept. Like, when you're looking at this, there's definitely a meaning to look for with all of this craziness happening behind me and the crown on my head. Like, it doesn't mean a ton to me, but it's definitely something that would make somebody just stop and take a minute to look at it and think about it. So make sure your pieces really invoke some sort of thought process, or just being innovative. What can you do that not other people? That wasn't a full sentence. Being innovative, like what do your pieces convey or depict that hasn't been done before? Why are you? What makes you creative? So I don't think I did an amazing job of that. It's just the best way to go about creating pieces that way is to not look too much at other people's work and just create your own. I'm not amazing in that category, but yeah, that's something I kind of look for. I'll show a couple pieces that I chose not to include in my portfolio. This one, I have no idea if you can see this very well because it's pretty dark, but this was a piece I did my freshman year, and the main reason I chose not to include it was because I don't have the actual piece anymore. I did sell it, as well as it's just very old, and it was actually like my second oil painting ever, and there's just many better examples of pieces that I have now. I don't know why I would use this one. Moving on, don't draw eyes. Here's a couple no-nos. Don't do eyes. They have seen tons and tons and tons of these. You may think it's creative and innovative and that nobody's ever drawn an eye before, but let me say that everybody goes through an eye phase. Everybody has drawn eyes. Don't draw eyes. Don't, or at least don't turn them in for a portfolio. It's a bad idea. The next would be like skulls. Don't do skulls. They've seen a million skulls. You're just trying too hard to be edgy. They've seen it. Anime fan art. You can be. I'm not saying you're not allowed to draw anime. I'm just saying that if you're going to, don't turn in a Naruto painting. Like, that's not your art necessarily. That's not your idea. If you're going to do that, if you're going to be in more of an illustration animation major, show your own work and show your own ideas. Not slamming anime. It can be cool. You can be good at it, but also don't just draw anime. Learn fundamentals of art. That's a small rant, but yeah. So don't draw eyes. Don't turn them in for portfolios. The next piece was a piece I did my sophomore year. Kind of goes along with, I already had 2 oil paintings, and they both said something about me in some way or another. This one is just really bleh. Like, there's not a whole lot to think about. It's a girl. There's fish around her. Wow. So, yeah, not a whole lot to say with that one. This one I did. This is probably it is the most recent of these pieces. However, and even though it's not bad by any means, it's just kind of bleh, as well as it was done from a photo on Pinterest, and that was the main reason I didn't use it. I would definitely get a copyright lawsuit or something if I tried to use it as my own art. So definitely be wary of that when you're doing your portfolios. Just remember, like, either to save the resource that you painted from, find the artist. If you're really inclined to use a piece in your portfolio that you painted from a picture, make sure you have permissions from that photographer. Otherwise, it'll be a huge mess, and they will definitely look at you sideways if you try to do that. So, yeah, that kind of wraps it up. Just make sure to curate yourself. That is, your portfolio really is your opportunity to show these schools that you are something to be desired, whether it be your conceptualization, your innovation with your new ideas, or your just technical skill. Maybe you're just really good at painting and you need to show them that. So anyway, thanks for watching.